Hello friends, welcome back. This is Himanshu Verma. In the previous lecture, we have learned how to plot field distribution for transverse magnetic mode for parallel plane waveguide. We plotted field distribution for different values of M. Now in this lecture, we will learn how to plot field distribution for TE mode for parallel plane waveguide. Now to plot field distribution, first of all, we have to remind field expressions which are present for TE mode. Because this is transverse electric mode, that's why electric field component will always remain perpendicular to Z axis. The component which always remain perpendicular to Z axis can be taken in Y direction. So EY is the component which always remain perpendicular to Z axis. Now magnetic field would have two components, Hx and Hz. So finally we can say that in TE mode, Hx, Hz and Ey component will exist. Now as we know, Hx component is always perpendicular to the boundary. Therefore, it has to satisfy the boundary condition and would have to become 0 on the boundaries. Therefore, in x direction, it will contain sine function. Now if we talk about Hz, then Hz is the tangential component, that is Hz is always tangential to the boundary, so it needs not to become 0 on the boundaries. Therefore, Hz will have cosine function in x direction. Now if we talk about Ey, then Ey component is always tangential to the boundary, and because it is electric field component which is tangential to the boundary, so it also have to satisfy the boundary condition and has to become 0 on the boundaries, and therefore this will also have sine function in x direction. Remember, normal component of magnetic field and tangential component of electric field has to become 0 on the conducting boundaries. In short, we can say that in TE mode, Hx, Hz, Ey will exist, Hx will have sine, Hz will have cos, and Ey will have sine function in x direction. Now next question arises, how much cycles would be present of these sine and cosine function in x direction? Number of cycles in between the boundaries will depend upon value of m. For m is equal to 1, only one half cycle would be present between the boundaries. For m is equal to 2, two half cycles means one complete cycle would be present between the boundaries. And for m is equal to 3, three half cycles would be present between the boundaries. In this way, as the value of m increases, the number of half cycles also increases. First of all, we take TE1 mode. TE1 means transverse electric mode for m is equal to 1. Here because m is equal to 1, that's why only one half cycle would be present between the boundaries. Suppose first we plot front view. In front view, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and z-axis is into the paper. Now as we know, in x direction, half cycle variation would be present of these fields correspond to these functions. So first of all, we draw Hx. Because x-axis is in this direction, that's why we can draw Hx field by a arrow in up or down direction. Because Hx has sine function, that's why it would be 0 on the boundaries and maximum in the mid of the boundary. Maximum field can be shown by this arrow. This arrow shows positive maxima of the Hx field. We can read this half cycle variation as 0, positive max, and again 0. This is the sine function half cycle. After plotting Hx, now we draw Hz. As positive z direction is into the paper, so Hz field can be represented by dot or cross. Dot would be used if field is in negative z direction, and cross would be used if field is in positive z direction. Because Hz is cosine function, that's why it would be maximum on the boundaries and 0 in the mid of the boundaries. At x is equal to 0, that is on lower plane, Hz would be positive max, so represented by cross, then it will become 0, and after that it becomes negative max on the second plane. And because it is negative max, that's why it is represented by thick dot here. So Hz variation can be read as positive max, 0 and then negative max. And it is the variation of cosine function for half cycle. Now after plotting Hx and Hz, now we plot Ey. Because y-axis is in this direction, that's why Ey can be represented by arrows either in left pointed or right pointed. Because Ey has sine function variation, so it would be 0 on the boundaries and maximum in the mid of the boundary. On first plane, it would be 0. In the mid of the planes, it would be maximum, or we can say it would be positive maximum. That's why it is shown by an arrow in this side. Therefore, we can read Ey variation as 0, positive max and again 0. This is the half cycle sine function variation between the planes. So these are the variations of Hx, Hz and Ey in x direction. Now as we know, in y direction, there is no boundary. That's why the field will remain constant in y direction. And therefore, these three field components will repeat itself in y direction. So in front view, we have shown variation of the field in x direction and in y direction. Now to show variation of the field in z direction, we have to plot its side view. In side view, this is x direction, this is z direction and y direction is out from the paper. Now first we plot Hx, Hz and Ey for z is equal to 0. Z is equal to 0 is the point where waveguide starts. As we know, in x direction, field variation would be according to these functions. So first we plot x direction variation at z is equal to 0. Hx has sine function variation and x is still in up direction. So Hx can be simply plotted as was plotted in front view. So Hx plot is same in front view as well as in side view. But if we talk about Hz plot, now because z is this direction, so Hz field representation would be changed. Now Hz would be shown by left pointed or right pointed arrows. While in front view, z direction was into the paper, that's why it was represented by thick dot or cross. Because Hz has cosine variation, so it would be positive max for first plane, so can be represented by arrow in right side. Then it becomes 0, then it becomes negative max, so can be represented by arrow in left side. Similarly, Ey plot would also be changed because now y direction is out from the paper, that's why Ey field can be represented by dot or cross. Because Ey has sine variation, that's why would be 0 on the boundaries and positive max in the mid of the boundary. So it can be represented by 0, thick dot and then again 0. So this is the variation of fields at z is equal to 0. Now as we know, in case of waveguide, the field always varies sinusoidally in z direction with wavelength lambda g, which is known as guided wavelength. Therefore, now each field expression will vary sinusoidally in z direction. For example, if we take Hx component, then it will vary sinusoidally in z direction. Similarly, if we take Hz component, it would also vary sinusoidally in z direction. If we take Ey component, then this will also vary sinusoidally in z direction. We observe this sinusoidal variation for each field one by one. First we take Hx. This point is correspond to z is equal to 0 and x is equal to 0. At x is equal to 0, we vary this field sinusoidally in z direction. Suppose here field is 0, then with increase in z, it becomes positive max, again 0, then negative max, then again 0. And this is complete full cycle variation. And this distance is equal to lambda g. Now if we observe the field at x is equal to d by 2 and z is equal to 0, then it is positive max. Now we keep x is equal to d by 2 constant and move in z direction. Because this is positive max, so after some distance 0 will come, then negative max will come, then again 0 will come, then again positive max will come. So this is complete one cycle variation from positive max to positive max. And this distance would also be equal to lambda g. Now if we observe this point, which is correspond to z is equal to 0 and x is equal to d. So field is 0 here, Now keeping x constant, if we move in z direction, so it is 0, and after some distance in z direction, maxima will come. Now we may confuse here positive maxima will come or negative maxima will come, because in actual field expressions, x direction and z direction variation has combined effect. So we will start from x is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0. That is 0, positive max, 0, and then negative maxima will come. Now after knowing polarity of this maxima, now we can plot further field point very easily. After negative maxima, 0 will come, then positive maxima will come, then again 0 will come. So this is the complete one cycle from z is equal to 0 to z is equal to lambda g. This is the sinusoidal variation in z direction for hx field. Similarly, we can plot sinusoidal variation for hz in z direction. Positive max, 0, negative max, 0, again positive max. This is complete one cycle. For x is equal to d by 2, 0, then negative max. Why negative max? Start from x is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0. It is positive max, then 0, then negative max. After negative max, 0, positive max, then again 0. So this is also one complete cycle variation. For x is equal to d, it is negative max, then 0, then positive max, 0, then negative max. So this is the sinusoidal variation of hz in z direction. Similarly, we can plot variation of Ey field in z direction. At x is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0, it is 0, then positive max, 0, negative max, then 0. For x is equal to d by 2, it is positive max, so 0, negative max, 0, then positive max. For x is equal to d, it is 0, then we may confuse whether it would be positive max or negative max. Then start from x is equal to 0, 0, positive max, 0, then negative max. So here negative max will come, then 0, then positive max, then 0. So this is complete one cycle variation. So in this way, all these three components will vary sinusoidally in z direction with a wavelength lambda g, that is guided wavelength, which is equal to 2 pi upon beta bar. Now after plotting TE1 mode, similarly we can plot TE2 mode. TE2 means here m value is 2. Because m value is 2, that's why in between the planes, 2 half cycles would be present. 2 half cycles means one complete cycle would be present between the planes in x direction. So for TE2 mode, in front view, same plot would be applicable, only one more half cycle would be added. So in TE1, hx was 0, positive max and 0. But in TE2 mode, it would be 0, positive max, 0, negative max, and then 0. This is complete one cycle variation between the planes. So all fields would have complete one cycle in between the planes in x direction. Like hz, positive max, 0, negative max, 0, positive max. For Ey, it is 0, positive max, 0, negative max, then again 0. So in this case also, we just have to remember hx, hz and Ey would have which function, that is sine function or cosine function separately. If it has sine function, then the field would be 0 on the boundaries, and if it has cosine function, then the field will be maximum on the boundaries. And because field is constant in y direction, so same pattern would be repeat itself in y direction. If we plot side view where we want to show variation of field in z direction. In z direction, sinusoidal variation would be present. So simply 0, positive max, 0, negative max, 0. For this point, positive max, 0, negative max, 0, positive max. For this point, 0, negative max. Why negative max? Move from here. 0, positive max, 0, then negative max. Then 0, then positive max, then 0. Negative max, 0, positive max, 0, negative max. 0, positive max, 0, negative max, then again 0. So in this way, all fields, that is hx, hz and Ey, will vary sinusoidally in z direction with wavelength lambda g. So this was all about TE2 mode. Similarly, we can plot TE3 mode or TE4 mode. For each increase in m, the number of half cycles between the x plane also increases. For TE3 mode, 3 half cycle would be present. So for TE3 mode, we will add one more half cycle in between the planes. Number of maxima and number of zero filled point can also indicate value of m. If field has sign function variation, then number of maxima point in between the planes would be equal to value of m. Maxima point means whether it is positive maxima or negative maxima. Similarly, for cosine function variation, number of zeros between the planes will be equal to value of m. This is very much clear in field plot also. For TE1, m value is equal to 1. Here, because hx and ey have sign function variation, so they will have one maxima in between the planes. See, here hx has one maxima in between the planes. And similarly, ey also has one maxima in between the planes. Because hz has cosine variation, so it would have 1 0 in between the planes. We can check for hz also, it has 1 0 in between the planes. And this is true everywhere in the waveguide. Suppose we check here, then for hx, only one maxima is present. Similarly, ey also, only one maxima is present. But for hz, 1 0 is present. Similarly, we can check for TE2 mode. Here 2 0 or 2 maxima will present. For hx, 2 maxima are present. For ey, 2 maxima are present. For hz, 2 0 are present. And this is true everywhere in the waveguide. If we check here, then here hx has 2 maxima, hz has 2 0 and ey again has 2 maxima. So throughout the waveguide, field will have either 2 maxima point or 2 0 point. So if anybody give us a plot, so just counting the number of zeros or number of maxima in between the planes, we can tell what is the value of m. Now next question would be, how we will know it is TE or TM? Then the availability of field would be different for TE and TM. In TM, EX, EZ and HY were existing, and in TE, HX, HZ and EY are existing. So this thing we have to take care. Here the discussion on parallel plane waveguide is completed. In next lecture, we will start rectangular waveguide. See you in next video. Please like and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.